Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series on the Wii U, and today we're taking a look at one of my absolute favorite games on the platform, and that is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Before we get too far involved, if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, ring that notification bell, and if you feel so inclined, we have a Patreon link down there as well if you want to support the channel. But this was one of the games that instantaneously went to my list when I was thinking about 10 games to cover for the Wii U, because this game has charm in spades, and it's unlike anything Nintendo's ever done before. Granted, we did see Wii U and Super Mario 3D World, and I'm glad they expanded on the formula, because this is just such a charming little puzzle game. I can't get enough of Captain Toad. And whether or not you want to play it on the Wii U or the Switch is up to you. I actually prefer the Wii U just because you have the gamepad and it's able to kind of put those different mechanics across two different screens. So a lot of the games on my Wii U playlist are going to be ported to Switch, and some of them will be better for it. I think Captain Toad actually stands up better on its original platform. But taking a look at what the game does, it is quite simple in nature, yet it is extremely complex in execution. All you really need to do in each stage is get to the star. Classic Mario trope, get the star, exit the stage. But there are so many different hidden collectibles within Captain Toad Treasure Tracker that actually collecting everything in a level becomes quite complex. And you'll see here with that Wii U pad, we're able to manipulate the level around, and we can turn the camera left and right and zoom in and out. So it's basically playing this gigantic diorama that you need to work through as a puzzle. And now that we've gotten that first star, we can move on and see some more of the mechanics in the game. Because each level introduces something new. You're never playing the same thing twice, and you're always learning something different. And you'll see here that the twin cherries from Super Mario 3D World are going to make an appearance. And just like in that game, we now need to solve some basic puzzles with two Toads. And honestly, two Toads is better than one, and three Toads is better than two. You can never have enough Toad in your life, or at least that's my opinion. But I like that this level is completely different than the one we just showed. We're not so much dealing with the perspective and trying to solve puzzles in that manner. We're working on puzzles that are more spatial awareness, being able to understand how you move both Toads at the same time to be able to get to your end goal. And that's what I love about this game so much, is that the diversity in it is a lot larger than you would be led to believe. You would think that after you play the first maybe 10 levels, you're going to just be getting more and more complex versions of the same thing. But I like how the game builds on its own retinue of ideas and expands on them, because here, now we are turning the camera to be able to get to that other P-switch. We need to deal with the perspective puzzles along with how to move two Toads at the same time. And honestly, for a game that's so visually bright and cute and Nintendo-like, it is extremely complicated at times. Some levels take 5 to 10 minutes of proper thinking just to be able to get to the end. And some of the hidden goals, the golden mushroom, the different diamonds that you need to find, can be extremely hidden, and I love going back and playing the levels and seeing what else can be done. As you'll see here, without those two Toads, we're not going to be able to get to the top of the stage and be able to get the star. So it's just a different mechanic, and I love how much the game plays around with concepts and executes on those ideas. And then we get smaller levels that really feel like that diorama, and using the Wii U pad, you're able to turn this part of the stage and access different things. Right off the top, you're able to get one of those diamonds, but the other two are going to be extremely difficult to get to. You may be able to see it, but you don't exactly know how you're going to navigate over to it until you basically turn the level over as many ways as is humanly possible, turning the camera, thinking about things. If you like puzzles, if you have a spatial awareness love of being able to solve them, this game is absolutely 100% going to be for you. And I'm so happy that Nintendo played around with the formula here, because it seems like in a lot of Nintendo consoles that don't do well sales-wise, that's when Nintendo does their most creative work. The GameCube wasn't a giant hit, but it has some of my favorite Nintendo games of all time on it. The Wii U was definitely not a giant hit, but again, it has some of my favorite games of all time on it, and Captain Toad is no different. And they like to break up the action as well. Now we're in this first-person view if you're looking at the gamepad, and unfortunately, capturing video out is not easy for that, so you'll just have to imagine it, because I didn't really want to film it with a camera. There was too much interference. But you'll see here, you just get something new. You're still going to be collecting coins, there's still diamonds to be had, but it gives you a different type of level now and again to be able to experience something new and something varied, and I love that the game plays with its own formula and keeps itself fresh. Now, visually, the game is absolutely stunning as well. I love all the depth of field effects that Nintendo used on the Wii U. It must be baked into that AMD GPU they use because it just has this super colorful look to it with all these different depth of field effects and other graphical capabilities that look amazing. And even these little levels here, you have so much stuff going on. I love the music and the little mini games you get for one-ups. And that's just kind of the best part about this game is that it's always trying something new. It's always looking beautiful. It's always charming you. And for more often than not, the puzzles get really complex and it's really making you think long and hard about what you want to do. But watch this little bit of a boss battle. They do exist in the game and they are quite fun. Hear the music and the sound effects. I'll be back in a minute to close out Captain Toad. But enjoy. Now we know that Captain Toad has a skull, and that means all toads have skulls, and I've never really thought about that, but it seems weird now that I've actually realized it. But moving on, this is probably my favorite level in the entire game, because not only is it beautiful to look at, but it really reinforces the entire diorama aspect of the game. Because while you can see absolutely everything from the start by zooming your camera in and out and turning it left and right, you don't know how to get to certain areas. And that's what's really interesting about this level is that you need to start thinking, how do I get to where I need to be? Because I can see it exists, they're not hiding anything, but being able to understand where you can go, where you can fall, and how you get there is probably the most interesting aspect to me. Because you don't just need to worry about what's in front of you, you need to worry about what's below you, because Captain Toad can drop off this platform and raise this box up to be able to get to the star below. And that's a really interesting concept that the game plays around with a lot, which is thinking about where you can fall. Because in most games, falling is not something you want to do. You fall into a pit in a Super Mario game, you're losing a life. In Captain Toad, falling is sometimes not only the best, but the only way to actually achieve your goal. And achieving goals is entirely what this game is about, because just getting the star and passing the level isn't usually the most difficult thing. But 100%ing a level and getting all the achievements is going to be much more difficult. Because in this level right here, the goal to get 100% and the achievement is to not hurt any of the enemies by throwing the turnips. Obviously, turnips are the vegetable of choice for Toad to throw, but if you hit a single enemy, you can't 100% the level. So you need to do stuff like carefully navigate around those guys right there and then be able to sprint to the finish. And I will say that controlling Captain Toad, while natural, there is definitely some difficulty in this game that you wouldn't think there would be because it is such a cute, childlike game in its visual nature. And you even get to play as Toadette. And the game loves playing around with how many different chapters there are. This game has a lot of endings, and you think you finished the game, and then magically you realize that there's an entirely new set of levels for you to play. And the more Captain Toad, honestly, the better. Now, the real question is, should you get this on Wii U or should you get it on Switch? And it's a really hard question to answer, and honestly, I double dipped and owned it on both platforms because I wanted to experience the new Switch exclusive levels. But for me, with the gamepad integration on the Wii U, it is my preferred version. I think it's the best example of what Nintendo did with their hardware. But if you're going to buy one, maybe grab the Switch version just because you get more levels for the game. But even here, I love how they bring in certain elements of Super Mario 3D World. You have the transparent pipes, and this entire level is just one giant spatial awareness puzzle, because we need to get that golden mushroom up there, which is the penultimate goal of the entire experience, and getting to it in each level can be extremely difficult because we have a lot of different pipes and a lot of different ways to move around the level, but we have to spin the camera and understand where each junction in that pipe is going to go, while navigating around the enemies and trying not to take damage. So not only is it you have to find the right path, but you have to find the right timing to get to that path. And it's just an absolutely great experience. But wherever you play Captain Toad on, the Switch, the Wii U, you 100% have to check it out if you have not. It is one of my favorite Nintendo games, probably over the last decade, and it came out of nowhere. But short of that, thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate your guys' support. If you could do us a huge favor, go down below and hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. It takes a lot of time and energy to make each one of these episodes, and we really appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave them below. If you played Captain Toad, tell me what you think about it. I really hope we get another game in this series because it's one that I want to see more of, and Nintendo sometimes makes things and then never makes another one again. So hopefully, Captain Toad and Toadette will be back soon. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.